Welcome back. Today, we get the opportunity to replace a radiator in this 03 Tahoe. Now, 03 Tahoe is the same year as, I believe, 01 to 06, 2001 to 2006. And if I use any specialty tools to replace this radiator, I'll be sure to leave a link to them in the description. Hang out for a minute, we'll get this thing done. First thing I always do, disconnect the negative on a battery. Almost anytime I'm working on a car, take that battery terminal off there, get it out of the way. Something to collect the nuts and bolts, and we'll get right into it with this cover. This cover has little clips, a panel tool. You can get these from a tool truck, get them on Amazon, get them at your local automotive store. Get it in underneath the top of that. Pop it up. If they come out all the way out, it's no big deal. I'm going to be careful with these. Sometimes they get jammed in there. And just put the top part way back in. Just like that. After you get all 7 of these clips out, this piece comes right off. The next thing you need to do is get this piece of intake off of here. It's just a plastic air ducting, takes air from your air cleaner over your intake manifold. One hose clamp here, one hose clamp under here. So you got to take this shroud off of here first. 8mm bolt right there. Pop this up and slide it forward. It's got little clips that clip the back end. So there's only one screw, one bolt that holds it down. Now you can get to this hose clamp and this hose clamp over here. After you get the hose clamps loose, sometimes these things are stuck on there really good. They've heated up and cooled down so many times they kind of glue themselves together. Find yourself a hook tool. This one's made by Snap-on, but it doesn't have to be. Put it in between the rubber and the intake manifold and gently slide it around just to loosen that up. Kind of breaks it free. If you can't get all the way around, it's not a big deal. Once you get that seal halfway broken, kind of wiggle it back and forth and it should free itself up just like that. There's a clip right here. It goes around your radiator hose and your overflow hose to hold them together and keep them from vibrating around. This clip goes through this hole. Sometimes they're hard to get out, sometimes they're easy to get out. Mine wasn't even pushed in there. You want to do yourself a favor and cover this intake right here. A lot of times what you can use is a latex glove. Grab a new latex glove. Just stretch the cuff, goes around your wrist, stretch that over here. That'll seal it, keep everything out. Since I don't have any latex gloves, I'm just going to drape a rag over there, stick it on there really good, just so dust and dirt that's falling in the air doesn't go in there. Before you get too far into this, you want to drain the last of the fluid out of your radiator. Put a drain pan down below. There's a little hose right here that's usually stuck to this loop right here, if you can see all this. And there's a valve right here. You can kind of turn it to start with your hand sometimes, but I use a pair of pliers because it does get a little sticky. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button for me. Helps this video get out there and get to more people so more people can learn how to change their radiator. Moving on to this clip right here. Take a pair of pliers. Get on that clip. Now they have a little catch to them if you can get it to work. Whenever you do, keep your fingers away from these two parts up here, because if your pliers let loose, it'll pop back and it does not feel good when it hits your fingers. Your fan shroud has to come off. It's in 2 pieces, an upper piece and a lower piece. And those are held together by 2 clips on each side. Let's pop these clips out of there. Little panel tool. You pull the clips out, that separates your upper fan shroud from your lower fan shroud. And you have two 10mm bolts holding your fan shroud to the car. You got those two bolts out, take your fan shroud, lean it back, pick it up out of the way. Now some Chevy Tahoes and Suburbans have an electric fan, so they don't have this fan, this mechanical fan right here. If you have an electric fan, it's going to be different. You're not going to have this big fan shroud right here. You're going to have two electric fans that are on a shroud connected to the radiator. I can't show you how to take that apart because I don't have that here. But if you have one of those, it can't be too hard. Your lower fan shroud, pick it up, slide it back. You can take it all the way out if you want, but I don't think it's necessary. Onto the passenger side of your car, you've got an overflow hose right here. It's called an overflow hose because this hose goes right over to your overflow / fill bottle right here. That's where that hose goes. Take that hose clamp off. So I'm going to close this valve, because when I take that lower radiator hose off over on this side, some antifreeze is going to be over there, and it's going to dump out. So I'm going to move my drain pan from this side to that side. Pop that hose clamp off of there. Hopefully, there's another little hose right here with a hose clamp on it. This hose goes over your intake manifold. Pop that off. On this Tahoe, the transmission has a cooler inside the radiator. It connects right here, another line right down here. Little plastic cover, pop that off. There is a special tool you can use to pop in here and this line will come out. Or there's that little clip, that little spring clip there. You can get a little tool, a little hook tool, and pop that out and the line will come out. So if you don't have the specialty tool that I'm going to use, there is a workaround. This is a specialty transmission line. Well, probably more than just transmission line, but it's a specialty tool made for that transmission line there. It's a Fitz Jiffy Tight 3/8. This one's made in China. It's got a little thing here to pop those clips out. Clip it on over the line. Find a sweet spot that it slides in there. There you go. You'll take it and you'll turn it until you see that spring clip kind of pop out. At that point, I'm going to give the line a little pop. You got a piece of 3/8 inch inside diameter rubber hose. Slide it over there. Not too far, just snug it on so it's not going to come off real easy. You don't want to push it on too far. You'll jam it on there. You'll really have a hard time getting it off. Put that line in there. That way dirt and dust doesn't get in your lines and transmission fluid doesn't come out. In my years of doing collision repair, I worked on many of these, and I ran across a couple of them that had an auxiliary oil cooler in the driver's side. I believe, if memory serves me correctly, it's hooked up the same way as the transmission lines on that side. Same idea, take the lines off, run a loop through them so they don't leak out and dust and dirt doesn't get in, you'll be on your way. I believe all that's left holding this radiator in are these two 13mm bolts right up top, one on either side. Pop this loose. Should be able to pick it right up out of there. Just like that. So this is the hose that I use to drain the last of the fluid out of the radiator. A lot of times this is gone. It doesn't have a super snug fit on here. It's just a piece of 3/8 inch inside diameter hose. So if you don't have it, if it's fallen off your vehicle, 3/8 inch inside diameter hose will fit right on here and you can drain that last of the fluid out of your radiator. Since I have it, I'll go ahead and transfer that over. Your upper mount brackets, these are rubber with a steel sleeve. Push that steel sleeve out. It goes out one way, so it's got a little shelf on it there, a little flare. Then you can take your rubber grommet and push it through. Put it on your new one. From this point on, just work it in an exact opposite way you took it out. So up until this point, I did this whole job using just common tools. A ratchet, a couple pair of pliers, a couple hook tools. I wanted to do this job the way any average Joe would do it in their driveway. When it comes to filling a system with antifreeze, I have what they call, well, this brand is called Airlift. I'm sure there's many other brands out there now. I bought this system 12 years ago or so, a long time ago. It's a foolproof system to put antifreeze in a car. You don't have to have this. You really don't. Put a funnel on top of this, fill it slowly, let it run through the system. Maybe turn your car on, let it run for a minute, turn your car off, fill this. When this won't fill anymore, just by turning your car on and off a few times, let your car warm up, put the cap on, let your car warm up to operating temperature, and then cool all the way back down. And look at the level in your overflow tank here. If your levels drop down, top it off. Fill it up to the proper level again. Start your car, let it run to operating temperature, and let it cool all the way down until that level stays at the full level. Now, after that, if you happen to be driving down the road and your car starts to overheat, don't panic. It's one of two things. One, you've got a leak somewhere and you lost all your antifreeze. Two, it's an air bubble somewhere in the system that's got to come around through the system and into your overflow tank. The easy way to figure this out, let your car cool down on the side of the road all the way. Takes a while, I know. Let it do it. Start it back up again. Drive down the road and pay attention to your thermostat. Make sure your car does not overheat. If it was just an air bubble, you shouldn't have any more problems. That air bubble will come around, end up in your overflow system, get home, top that off, and you should be fine. I'm going to go ahead and use my airlift system to pull a vacuum in the coolant system of this car and fill it that way. These are all the tools I use for this job. Panel tool to take the clips out, little hook tools, a couple different ones for loosening up those radiator hoses and the intake manifold. 6-inch extension, quarter drive ratchet, a little extension with a T handle that I welded on just to make life easy, an 8mm, 10mm, and 13mm socket. I always use deep sockets. You don't have to. I don't think this job requires a deep socket for any part of it. 3/8 inside diameter rubber hose to loop your tranny lines. If you have them, these transmission tools, comes in a set of 4. You use the smallest one for this job. A couple different set of pliers, just to make life easy when you're getting at those hose clamps to compress them and get them out of the way. Here's a close-up of the transmission line clip. This little clip right here, kind of see it moving around? That's what holds your transmission line in. If you don't have that special clip tool, you can get a hook tool in here, a little pick, and you can work at it and pop it out. That's all it is right there. Well, that's it for that job. All done. Remember, guys, if I can do it, you can do it. Until next time, go make something.